Well, folks, once again, I've got a great opportunity to talk with some performers for the St. Germain's Tall Timbers concert series. Curtis and Loretta are going to be performing on April 13th at 3 o'clock, and they've had some great performers already, and this is just going to add into another great show. Curtis, Loretta, how y'all doing?
We are
We're just dandy.
we're good.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
good.
Thanks for having us,
It's a
Jeff.
beautiful day here in Minnesota.
For sure, the land of 10,000 lakes, and you'll be out here on the coast here before too long. You guys tour a lot, according to the website. You're all over the place.
Yes, we have been
We
doing it
do.
for many years. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yep, a lot. We go to the West Coast,
We
East,
work
South.
very hard. Folk musicians must work very hard to maintain their level of impoverishment too.
For sure, for sure. Well, I read too on the site that you add in all these extra instruments that you got to carry along with you, and each one adds to the flavor of the songs you play. Your latest album is Lift the World, which we'll get into a minute. But let's learn a little bit more about yourselves. Tell me the background story of how you two met on the website is wonderful.
Did you read it?
I did. Share that with the listeners. It was great.
Well, there's two. He's got his version, and I have my
Well,
version.
I was up on a cliff. I was making bamboo flutes. I just sailed in from Hawaii, crewed on a sailboat. I'm making shakuhachis, and my shakuhachi guy decided to make. I was living with an herbalist up on this cliff. Now it's a national park, but it was just a cliff then, and it's back in the '70s, right?
Yeah, in
And
California.
the derelict ship. The setting was perfect. The beach, and I was up on that cliff, and with my mandolin, and I looked down, and there was this gorgeous lady. I saw her hair blowing in the wind, carrying a guitar, and I thought to myself, wow, that's a nice guitar. I'm going to go
Well,
down there. And then I realized on the way down, she was ogling me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't
Yeah.
even notice you. So I'm from Minnesota, where we live now, and Curtis is from Texas originally, but he'd been in Hawaii and sailed across to Santa Cruz, and we just happened to be in Santa Cruz at the same time for a few months living there. And I was working as a nurse's aide, trying to just get by and get my big break in theater or music. And I was practicing on the beach. I had my guitar out, and this guy came up. This is my version. This guy came up to me and said, "Hey, I play guitar." And I said, "Well, that's nice."
Good for you. Good for you.
I'd heard that a few times
Do you
before.
realize 25% of the people in the United States play guitar? I saw that statistic the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But anyway, but he really could play. I'd met other guys that just wanted to talk to him, but he really could play. He actually ran back to his house, got a mandolin, and sat down. Like 5 minutes later, we started playing. We think the first song we played together was
Played
Suzanne,
by
Leonard
Leonard
Cohen.
Cohen. And the harmony sounded so beautiful that I kind of followed her. She actually had a variety show at this kind of
I had this little
funky
gig.
little restaurant bar. So the first night we met, we did a gig together,
Yeah.
which is kind of fun.
And it was 47 years ago.
So you guys were both in Santa Cruz at the same time, but had not run paths except for this instance right here.
Yeah.
Right.
Just that was it.
And
I'd never seen him before in my life.
there's this incredible, music scene on the street there, the Karamazov brothers and Bob Brosman, and I mean, just all these people. So I was doing that. I had gone up to pick apples and found an old National duolian, or it was a triolian, at a swap meet for like $35 or something. So I was sitting on the street playing that. I had been in Hawaii for a long time, and I picked up puksha. I needed a new occupation.
I was your new occupation.
And then, there
So
she
we
is,
started
ready
playing
for
music
you.
together. Yeah, we started
Yeah.
playing on the street, and it was the first time really seriously played to make a living. And then we started hitchhiking up and down the West Coast, playing different places, and then
We
we
hit
ended
it-
up back in
We hit
Minnesota.
it big, and I bought an old pickup truck from my uncle, a '62 GMC. It had
Yep.
about, I think, 1,200 miles on it or something. We
It's
just had
brand new.
yeah, man, it had
Just a
a
little
topper on
topper.
it, not a camper. We just covered the inside with carpet and
We lived in that for
lived
a
in the
while.
best neighborhoods.
Oh my
Anyway,
gosh.
We actually
talk
live in
about that forever.
we actually live in a little house now in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
But
What a
we
great
we
story.
travel a lot.
Man,
Yeah.
that's an amazing story. I love it when music connects people and it's just so nice. This St. Germain's location you're going to be playing is a real intimate spot. You're going to get a chance to really connect with the audience. Do you prefer
Oh.
these kind of more intimate sets or do you prefer kind of a larger venue?
You end up playing all these different places, and really, yeah, intimate is wonderful. I think the best thing about playing meaningful folk music is are the venues and the labor of love energy that's inherent in them,
Yeah.
because there's always volunteers and yeah, and the little intimate places. I mean, yeah, it's great to play for 200 people. It's great to play for 10, and if you play for 10, they feel sorry for you and buy a CD.
For sure. You maybe make a little bit more on the back end there.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
on April 13th at St. Germain's, the Lift the World album, as I was reading on curtisandloretta.com, that kind of bore out in a couple different ways from the pandemic. So you
Yeah.
had a chance to sit back, reflect a little, get the grant from Minnesota. Tell us that story.
Yeah, we actually applied for a grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board and got it to fund this recording, Lift the World. That's the title song. And a lot of the songs were ones I wrote during the pandemic. Of course, like all musicians, everything was canceled. And we were sitting here and just thought, well, at least I can write. You don't need an audience, I can write. And so one of the songs on there, Karmic Closet, is definitely has to do with the pandemic because we spent that whole first summer cleaning, organizing, just like
Yeah.
go for it.
When the pandemic showed up, I thought, "Oh, goody, I can finally take a long rest."
Like a little vacation, but no. But by the end of the summer, that first summer, I was like burnt out, and then I started thinking about other things I could organize, and thought about the inside of my head, and that's when I wrote Karmic Closet and all the things that you should take care of in there, but which is an ongoing thing for the rest of my life.
I mean, do you realize, the pandemic was certainly, difficult for many people and really sad for a lot of people, but to a dog, it was absolute heaven.
Always
So I
there.
wrote, yeah, man, that's why I wrote a dog song for that
Yeah.
album, is because, man, dog's wildest dream, his people come home and stay for 2 years. My
Yeah.
word.
And then they get used to it and you start to head out back on the road and they wonder where you go.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right. They're like, what happened? Where did they go? Yeah.
With
So he wrote this great dog song, Get a
But
Hound.
anyway,
with
Yeah.
47 years together and 47 years making music, talk to me a little bit how I'm always interested in how artists and bands come up with their set lists. And is it more of a read of the audience and kind
boy,
of mix in some things, or is it mostly originals, or how do you play that?
you know, we are we play
We're
different kinds of
eclectic.
stuff. What's that word?
Eclectic. I'm trying to read
Eclectic.
his
There's some
mind, but it's
business word they use. We diversified.
Hey, there you go.
But we diversified with things that we truly love, and so that's very important. But so we of course love to play our own songs, and we do history shows. So we play 19th century or whatever. We've done Irish shows through the years, kids shows. We do a lot of senior shows when we're in town and when we're on the road. If you're doing, like in Hudsport or somewhere, and you're like doing the cool concert in the town, people love it if you go to the nursing home and play for their
Sure.
grandmothers and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So we do all those things. But set list, that's a really good question, because many things are involved. Like you said, we play a lot of instruments, So
Yeah.
I mean, every time we play, we defy the laws of physics. I mean,
Right.
how many 60 something, 68 strings I think we tune every time, and in between sets if we can. So you absolutely, you play the audience. You look at them in the eyes, and you can feel what might be helpful, to play. And we usually mix some historic, some
Yeah, a few traditional
traditional
songs.
songs with our own. It's really cool to see how the subject matter of things that are happening now really coincides with things that were happening, a long time ago. So you can set them up that way. And then we have to think what's going to stay in tune the longest. So we try
Right.
to You know,
So
so there's a strategic things,
yeah, and we one of the instruments that I play is folk harp or Celtic harp. So we usually start out with that when it's really nice in tune. That's the one that might go out of tune later. And really, our favorite thing to do is our originals, and a lot of those I wrote on harp.
And the harp has such a magic, relaxing quality to it. It's really nice to play those meaningful, beautiful harp songs first. But not too many because you don't want people to go to sleep.
Right.
And then you whip out the antidotes like banjo and ukulele and stuff for harp. So, yeah.
You can hear the music and purchase it as well on the website. Again, as I mentioned, curtisandloretta.com. There is music on the website. You guys have a whole host of collection of awards and honors that you've been bestowed over the years. Is there any one that stands out as something that was truly like, wow, this is
that
recognition?
after 10 years of proposing, Loretta finally, and playing music, Loretta finally said yes.
Oh, we got married after 10 years of playing together. That's not really an award, though.
And, well, I considered it. I mean,
for him it is. Maybe I don't know.
I wasn't so sure.
I had burnout dinner candles, knee patches, all this stuff all over the place.
I wasn't so sure about it, but
it was 10 below zero, and I said, "Hey, let's go to Mexico and get married. I got tickets.
Let's go."
Yeah. So we've gotten several grants from the Minnesota State Arts Board and also the South Dakota Arts Council, which is great, and that means a lot to us. There's a lot of competition, but one of the coolest things I think is we were named best performers of the Twin Cities a few years ago, and that's a cool thing. Minneapolis St. Paul is a pretty big area, so to be named the best acoustic acoustic performers.
Now, the stories and the people we've met, and it's just, I just feel absolutely privileged, But Loretta wrote a song about a lady in Florida that saw a Minnesota girl on the internet, decided to donate a kidney because this little girl was about to die. Since she was born, she was on dialysis, and she donated that kidney. And we'll go into more detail when we're at the concert. I'm sure we'll play this, but okay. So, and the little girl's still fine. Both of them are still fine.
Yeah.
And this was 10 years later or something.
I think it's several years later. Yeah, that she donated this kidney.
One time we were doing this just outrageously busy tour of libraries all over Minnesota during rutting season by Canada. It means you see deer, a lot of deer
on the road.
A lot of romantic deer, yeah. Anyway, so we're up there doing all these shows, and we stop in this really beautiful town in northern Minnesota,
Grand Marais on Lake Superior,
right on Lake Superior, and we play this song. When There's Good to Be Done is the name of the song.
We played it on the radio.
Got to do it, and a few months later,
it was WTIP and Grand Marais. And a few months later, the program director emailed me. She said, "Do you remember that night you were here? There was a man from the next town, and he was listening that night, and he was so inspired, he decided to donate a kidney himself and found someone to donate to." And it was like blown away that what an honor to be the messenger, to have that connection. I mean, I would never have the courage myself to donate an organ, but that we could spread this woman's message. It's just like, it was, we feel very, very fortunate what we do.
That's above and beyond any sort of award or honor you could get. Knowing
that is the biggest. I like
how
that.
How close that?
That is the biggest
They don't
award.
want anything I got.
What? No donations from us? I don't know. But you're right. That is the best donation or award, of anything.
Yeah, really.
That really is.
That's amazing.
And and we just all keep, there's a lot of good out there, man. There's a lot of heroes that have nothing to do with any political party or any country.
A lot of the songs I write are about real people that have done these amazing things, like that woman that donated the kidney.
I got to give a shout out to Lois and Dave, because they have been so good to us for decades, and they're just such pillars of Northwest,
the music
culture and the maritime culture, and they're just knowledgeable and just wonderful people. I have to say
they are great. It was thankful to get in touch with Lois so I could get in touch with you guys to talk about this upcoming concert again. And on the 13th of April at St. Germain's in Hoodsport, 3 p.m. is when this is. do you get a lot of inspiration? You come off these tours and you got more ideas for songs, and you're still writing, still producing?
Sure.
Yeah, we're always looking
She's a
for.
big writer.
Yeah, I write a little more than him,
I
but
just learn parts for
and
keeps me
he works out
busy.
the arrangements with me. But yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes on the road, and yeah, especially
Oh,
when you
that's where
meet
it comes
special
from. Yeah.
people. I love
They have to
writing.
percolate for a while sometimes,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I
Would
love
you,
that. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask if you could have imagined when 47 years ago when you met on that beach that this would still be how you're able to make. I love talking with artists. It's such a grind. It's such a tough profession to maintain, and seeing longtime successful performers is something else. And did you ever think, I mean, 47 years later?
No, we never thought.
You know,
We didn't think. We were just kids. We were like in our early 20s, and it was like, let's just do this. This would be cool.
we're we're great connoisseurs of beans, but gosh,
Oh,
the people
beans and
we
rice
meet and
instead
the
of
things we
steak.
get to do and the stories we tell and the stories we're told just makes up for, just about, yeah, it's an awful lot of work for short pay, but we don't care.
Yeah, we love
Sure.
it. And way back when we were younger, we
It's a
had.
micracle we've managed to
I know. Well,
survive
we
and
did have
actually buy a
part-time
house,
jobs way back. Curtis is a luthier, also repairs instruments and builds them, and so he did that for many years. And I did beaded jewelry
at
at Renaissance festivals, making
We
jewelry.
one of our early gigs was doing the Renaissance Festival circuit.
Yeah.
Talking about a lot of work for short pay, man.
Yeah,
Right.
but
Right.
yeah, but for years and years now, we've just made our whole living playing music,
And
and
then one day,
just love
after
it.
years of doing Renaissance festivals, I looked in the mirror and I thought, man, you don't look so good in leotards anymore. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that happens.
now we really prefer doing like Rendezvous, early American shows. Buckskin's much better for me. Yeah.
Have you spent much time in the Northwest performing in Washington or Hoodsport?
We come out to the Pacific Northwest about every 2 years. There was a period we didn't come out for a few years when my mom was ill and I was helping her. But we have done a house concert at Lois and Dave's, boy, I think 3 times over the years, haven't we?
Yeah,
At least 3 times.
We were back out there in the old days when we were hitchhiking.
Oh, when
and
we first
living in a
met.
truck, playing at the Pike Street
Pike
Market.
Street
and,
Market.
and our best friends in the world, we have many, but these guys are the top shelf. I sailed with them. They had a beautiful old antique sailboat out of Hawaii, 60-foot catch, just lovely.
Oh,
And we ended up in San Francisco, and they sold the boat. Oh, I was so heartbroken. It was a beautiful thing. And then they squandered the money on this house on Bainbridge Island, God, right on the cliff.
yeah, he's talking about his good friends from Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like $80,000.
Oh, yeah, it was like we couldn't believe they'd spend that much
How
money.
could they do that?
It was like
But now they're
1979
so kind to us that we stay with them every time we're
For
out there.
sure.
So
on
I mean,
Bainbridge.
we couldn't do what we do without the generosity of people. People putting us up, going out of their way, and helping us out. Because
Yeah.
we can afford a few motels and such, but it's hard to do it. You can't do it every night.
Not every
Yeah.
night for sure.
Yeah.
I was talking with another performer from Tall Timbers, Larry Morante, who was another great artist,
yeah.
folk
Yeah.
artist too. He also shared some great stories of playing at Lois's house.
Yeah.
Now in the church, it's going to be even a greater experience for the folks here watching and listening in. Union, which is just around the bend, has got some rich musical history, and the whole sound and the canal is just it's just wonderful.
It's
I was
beautiful
thinking
area.
every time we drive out to Hoodsport, that drive right along the canal, it's just like I get this my story antenna pop up, and it's like, man, this is like a maritime niche here. There's got to be old and new story. There's just this place like abounds with mystique. Yeah, I really enjoy that drive because I can just feel it sitting out there.
Yeah, it's a
So if you live
magical.
there, boy, that would be the mind to mind. Yeah,
Yeah,
Beautiful
it's
place.
for a song.
nice to be sitting out there on the water, watching the waves go by, seeing the bird and all that stuff.
Yeah.
CurtisandLoretta.com is the website once again. The latest album and the latest track on that, Lift the World, you can find on the website. April 13th, St. Germain's in Hoodsport donation. But they'll take anybody in there to listen to this great performance at 3 o'clock. I'll put the links to the show notes here. What a great conversation. It was so nice talking with you too.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Jeff.
One more statement.
Yes, please.
I must make this. I would just like to thank community radio. I mean, we've done so many community radios and it's so helpful. It's like people putting you up, you know. So thanks to KMAS and all the thousands of stations that are in little house trailers or huge buildings. Thank you very much for doing what you do.
Yeah.
You know,
it's wonderful.
It's too kind of like, you know, playing music here and there. It's a labor of love for a lot of
Sure is.
and we appreciate that very much. Curtis, Loretta, thank you so much for your time, and look forward to a great concert at St. Germain's.
Oh,
yeah. Thank you, Jeff.